Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome award-winning, multi-platinum country music icon and star of the upcoming Fox series Monarch, Trace Adkins.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
It is feature time in Tulsa. Let's go green.
He's got the run, but isn't enough. It's a drag race to the finish. Culver goes from third to first in the last quarter.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races such as the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR calendar, such as the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600. We have races from disciplines across the racing world, from the Indy 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events use iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against everyone taking part. As every race progresses, watch and feel the track change, with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline, or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
The following is an All-Star 15 TV production.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to All-Star 15 TV. On the broadcast tonight, race number 4 of the ACAR Xfinity series presented by the Wrestling with Nerds podcast. New episodes every Sunday evening. Go check them out on the Nerds Doing Nerd Things channels, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. But we are in qualifying. So far, 10 drivers have taken a time. But I want to talk to you guys about a really good clutch commentator coming in for tonight's broadcast. It's Brandon Storr.
Are you calling me clutch because press on the clutch, or is it because I came in handy? I don't know which one it is.
Both. We'll go with both here. You know, whatever helps your status on the channel.
As long as the clutch doesn't slip like a 1988 Integra, I'm golden.
You know, being in an old Integra, I kind of know what you mean. But
yep,
dude,
that first car.
Oh well, I don't want to talk about my first car. I had a mommy mobile. But dude, Phoenix Raceway NASCAR Real Life was here this past weekend. Honestly, crazy finishes every night they were there. I think the best one was on Sunday. Curious to see if we're gonna get that tonight.
This track is really, really cool because since they've redone this track, turns 3 and 4, which are the old 1 and 2, the racing off the corner is incredible. And in 3 and 4, you can send it in there based off the run you get on the dog leg. It's a really cool track as long as you avoid the pit wall.
I love how you add in the pit wall. I wonder if that has something to do with something that might have happened on Saturday.
It might have. I don't know, though.
But, dude, we're looking at right around 50 to 60 laps on a tank of fuel. Tires are going to be, for the most part, okay. The sun is going to start going down. Well, it already has started going down. But during practice and qualifying, that sun glare was really, really bad going into, I guess you would call it, turn 3?
Yeah, and drivers are going to have a real difficulty, not just with the glare itself, but there were drivers who thought that their vehicle was glitching out because of the sun going and hitting the light posts as they were driving. So as it goes down, they're going to be concerned.
Not as bad as it was, but it's still pretty bright going into turn 3 as we're on board with the 20 machine of Dalton Fredericks going into turn number 3. A brand new kind of setup we have for iRacing. They just put out one hell of an update. A little bit of an update to the tire model, the lighting model, and some other stuff that we'll get into at some points tonight. But, you know, most of the stuff that you see on the IMSA side or what you will see on Tuesdays with the All-Star 15 TV Super Trofeo series, most of it went over towards that kind of racing. But they did add some unique stuff for the oval side, like the new tire models, Brandon. And I really think that's going to come into effect with some drivers that you wouldn't expect to be really, really good, basically on an even playing field now.
I completely agree with that. And the thing about this track is that with the last update before this one, they didn't update when it came down to the debris model. And from running this track a little bit, the sand does play a little bit of a factor from the desert and the debris on the track. So combine that with the tire model upgrade, I think we're in for a fantastic show.
Yeah, as we just have about a minute and a half left in qualifying. What are you looking for towards tonight's race? What do you expect with some of these drivers?
Well, and so with these drivers, it really depends because, again, we have the open lobby going on here. And so with some of our drivers who are traditionally in the races, I expect it to be very clean. But whenever they're being clean, they're going to have to navigate around the drivers that they don't know how they're going to race. When it comes down to diving into turns 1 and 2, that's going to be one where drivers are going to be able to send it in. And the ones who are comfortable with the track will have no issue. The ones who are not as familiar are going to have difficulties, and the ones who are familiar with the track are going to have difficulties getting around those drivers who don't know how to run that portion of the track. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's very similar to a slightly banked short track or a slightly banked intermediate track. So that's not going to be as much of a difficulty. I think our problem area are going to be the dog area and then turns 1 and 2 specifically.
Yeah, and as we saw in real life, the dog leg, crazy. And then on restarts 1 and 2, going to be very, very scary. I'm excited to see what's going on with tonight's race. We're doing 125 laps, 125 miles. As Brandon just mentioned, it's an open lobbied event. So anybody could be here, which also means anybody can get booted. So
Make good choices. Don't take the road course.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Luckily, you can't get to it on this setup, but yeah, don't take the road course, as we learned whenever I ran the Daytona race for ACAR.
All right, well, let's run through real quick the starting lineup. Michael Edwards and Dean Thompson, your front row. Dalton Fredericks, Mark Morton in row 2. Row 3 is Charles Robertson and Ryan Roberts. Row 4, Kelly Ingersoll and Josh Fadal. And rounding out the top 10 in row number 5, you have Daniel Krim and Brandon Elkins. Brandon, can you take us a good portion of the rest of the way?
I would love to take you the good portion of the rest of the way. I'll be honest with my screen. It's a little bit blurry. I'm having some slight technical difficulties, so
that's right.
I would love to help if you can help me.
You're not still in there yet, are you?
I'm almost there. I'm at 75%.
Well, I got it then. Don't worry about it. Alex Bonsignor in 11th. 12th, it's Brandon Shirley. In 13th, it's Daniel Harsley. 14th, it's Wyatt Franklin. 15th, Aaron Ingersoll. 16th, Preston Alexander. Nate Orlowski in 17th. 18th, Joshua Yandow. 19th, Dylan Burke. And rounding out the top 20 in the 8 is Twisted. Brandon, I'm looking forward to this. The sun is just about to go down, which means these tires, this track, are really going to cool off, giving them a little bit more grip. And I think with that more grip, we're going to see a lot of craziness.
Drivers who are able to adapt are going to be ones that are going to succeed tonight. As I look at this list of individuals, first and foremost, sitting there in second place with Dean Thompson, really excited to see what happens with him in this race. As we go a little bit further down, some drivers who are pretty traditionally in race and very good at saving tires. Daniel Krim in particular comes to mind, and I'm really excited to see what he's able to do as the track adapts and as the debris model kicks in, as well as the new tire model.
Oh, there we go. We are rolling, all queuing up behind the iRacing official Ford Mustang pace car. Oh, this is going to be fun. Hopefully it's not pure chaos coming out of the dog leg and then into turn number 1. This place has really thrown me for a loop, as there goes the pace car with that one pace lap, or half a pace lap, because they have to get onto pit road coming out of turn 2. Very, very long pit road. Well, we're ready to go, everybody. Hit that like button, subscribe, follow all things All-Star 15 TV. This is going to be a fun one, and away we go. Already smacking the dog leg, going all the way down towards that inside wall is the 25 of Edwards. There they go into turn number 1. So far, so clean. 3 wide. Further in the back. Oh, big puff of smoke coming off the 24. Brandon Shirley.
As you exit turn number 2, that wall comes at you like a wrecking ball. Just like as you go into turn 3, we have a wrecking ball.
Daniel Harsley, big incident.
You can just see he just gets the nose just gets chopped of the car right there, and sends the other vehicle going up into the wall. Just no room to be able to go there. Just
that is
judgment.
The 224 of Brandon Elkins comes down right where there was no room, and we have our first caution coming towards the end of lap 1. Everybody does get that one fast repair. There are 2 sets of tires in the pit and a little bit of retaliation, it looks like. Even
Well,
though
no,
I'm pretty sure it was the 224's fault for coming down.
it looked a little bit like it was a come between the two drivers. You could tell that he could have gone further down in the one car, but that 224 definitely was not clear and continued to come down. So just a little bit of racing room and being a little more respectful to each other, I think, will make a difference. Now, with that restart, one thing that I want to point out, just from having run this track in enough leagues, the 26 car did a fantastic job on that restart in ensuring that he stayed with the leader, because when you're starting in second place and you're starting on the outside, your main idea is to keep pace speed. But if you keep pace speed, you're going to fall a car length back as you go through turn 3 and 4. And that allowed the 26 car of Dean Thompson to ensure that going through turns 1 and 2, he was right there to be able to still be battling.
Yeah, let's we're under caution. Why don't we take a quick look at that? See the 26 outside of the front row.
And he rolls specifically enough at a greater speed than pace speed without passing the leader to ensure that he's keeping up that top line.
A really nice run on that outside.
That's something that other drivers should take note of, specifically of, that high line. Don't underestimate that high line at this track. This tire package can lead to some great racing.
Yeah, I'm hoping it continues to lead to great racing. I know we're going to go through a couple runs where everybody's going to get their bearings underneath them. Hopefully we don't lose too many cars. But here we go. Ford Mustang iRacing pace car back on pit road. For the most part, everybody's still in the same spots. As we head down into turn number 3, waiting for the green flag.
You can see again here, he's rolling it.
There it is. That's a really good restart for Michael Edwards on the inside.
And look at everyone take that dog leg, going down, then diving into turn 1. And that's where you're able to keep the momentum and ensure that you're able to use all 5 or 7 grooves that this racetrack has. No one takes the below the yellow line groove, as we're seeing cars just slightly brush the wall here. But that's the turn where you have the most amount that you're able to gain. Whereas when you go into turn 3 and 4, it's a lot tighter despite the banking, because it's tight going in, and then coming off, that wall will come at you just like in turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, that turn 2 wall, like you mentioned, is stupid tight, and it's always been stupid tight, whether it's on a sim or even on a console game. I know I've pounded that wall out a couple extra feet.
You just get so excited coming out of turn 2 that you're like, I have the momentum, and we have a wreck. This one looks like it was a straightaway wreck.
Oh, it looks like the one just tried clearing himself. Looking for Nate Orlowski. Let's check that far chase cam. Everything looks good. I don't know. That was close on both ends.
That's one of those racing deals, and I know it's the one car involved in it again, but if you look here, the 29 car gets a little bit of net code to his outside and starts to move him, so Nate does not move all the way up the track. And at the same time, I'm sure the one car spotter is beginning to say too wide now and beginning to move a little bit up the track. So one of those moments that I would call a racing deal. But I mean, you can see it right here. 29 is going to move up, and you can see that car in front of him just get a little bit of net code as they exit the corner. Right there. A little bit of net code. It kicks it out a little bit like he's almost loose. And that prevents Nate from continuing to go up the track, and that's where then the contact occurs.
Oh, and they're going to clip the 21, Josh Yandow. Seeing if anybody else is involved. Don't think so.
Yeah, one of those deals where it happens at the back, you don't get as many cars. If that happens at the front, I think we see half this field disconnect.
Absolutely. As we are already under our second caution of the evening, lights are on here at Phoenix Raceway. Thank you guys for tuning in to All-Star 15 TV. It is the ACAR Xfinity series presented by the Wrestling with Nerds podcast, and since we're under a caution, we have another lap. Brandon, I gotta throw you out there. If anybody watching, listening for whenever this ends up on Spotify, probably the best soccer, MLS, American football podcast that I've ever listened to is hosted by my commentator partner tonight, Brandon Storr. Brandon, real fast, give everybody at home the rundown. When do you put out those episodes, and where can they find it?
Well, and I'll be real quick, and I appreciate that you said it was American, but it is Merkin, because Merkin FC podcast is available on Spotify only. New episodes come out every Monday morning, because it usually is Sunday at about 3 a.m., which means Monday. So you can find it on Spotify, and I appreciate the shout out.
Absolutely, dude. I need your logo so I can put it on the channel too, so I got you, fam.
Send it.
But here we go. We're about to go green. Dean Thompson on the inside, Dalton Fredericks to the outside, and away we go again. Really good restart from the 26. Dean Thompson cuts it all the way to the inside for the dog leg. Fredericks is going to stay to that outside, looking for a run down into turn number 1.
Well, the drivers at the front were able to get a good gap because they didn't have to worry about cars beside them, because that top line did not maintain momentum on that restart as they did prior.
Yeah, we have a car sideways in 3. Don't think the yellow has come out yet. And I think we are staying green so far. As I think Dean Thompson is blinking out, or is it just me? Oh no, the yellow did come out. Okay.
I was going to say, I saw the graphic turn yellow, but you can see it better than I can, because I went from 75 to 79% to start this race.
Now, it doesn't always notify me when a flag changes, so I apologize everybody on that one. I didn't mean to throw you what's going on kind of thing, but with our third caution of the evening here on lap 11, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Thank you guys for sticking with us, and wherever you're watching, hit that like button and subscribe. We'll be right back.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
It is feature time in Tulsa. Let's go green.
He's got the run, but isn't enough. It's a drag race to the finish. Culver goes from 3rd to 1st in the last quarter.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races such as the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR calendar, such as the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600. We have races from disciplines across the racing world, from the Indy 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events use iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against everyone taking part. As every race progresses, watch and feel the track change, with progressive time of day, dynamic.
All right, iRacing, sorry that I had to cut your commercial a little short, but we are green once again. Lap 14 on the board, a 125, and away we go. As I think somebody needs to turn on the lights, because it is really getting dark. Well, the lights are on.
So you can see the lights on. It's going to take a little bit for this model to actually transition. I mean, you can see the shadowing of the vehicles. Every single lap that we go through, it's going to make an adjustment. These drivers will at least be able to see, which is the most important part, especially as these drivers are making contact entering the corner here.
As we just saw that 85, that's Dylan Bursk just punch a hole in the back of the 26 going into turn number 3 last time by.
Well, and that'll be the turn to do it. And if you're going to make contact with somebody, at least they'll be able to catch it a little bit easier. If you're doing that in turns 1 and 2, you're going to get extremely loose. As we see a car bumping off the wall on exit, that's the turn where the wall will absolutely come out and bite you.
Yeah, that is the 34 of Alex Bonsignor.
I'm pretty sure that he is not saying thank you, senor, to that wall.
Yeah, no thank you for the damage. But Dean Thompson over Dalton Fredericks by just about a half a second. In third, you have Mark Morton on that inside in the number 9 with Daniel Krim to his outside as Krim is in the wall now.
And that's another area whenever you're side by side, that wall won't get you like it does in turn 2. You can collect it a little bit more there in turn 4, but when you get into it, it's going to screw up all your momentum because the long straightaway with the dog leg is where you're able to make a lot of time up.
And you could really see how the 24 of Brandon Shirley is trying to be really aggressive on that inside, trying to get to the inside of right now the 18 of Charles Robertson, as that 24 is moving forward already, plus 6 spots. Daniel Krim plus 5, and Mark Morton is trading spots with our leader, Dean Thompson.
Well, the intricate part of this track, as we then round through turn 3 and 4, we're going to get to the dog leg, and then on this last lap, we saw drivers that were 2 wide suddenly go 3 wide, and we're going to see it again here, where we're going to see drivers that are single file suddenly go 2 wide, and all of a sudden, as you enter turn 1, you have to figure out what is the momentum that you want. Are you going to try and ensure you have a great exit, a great entry? And that turn 1 and 2 is what makes the racing great, as we see Daniel Krim on the outside of the 24 car, as well as them moving forward. We see side-by-side racing going into turn 3.
Yeah, it looks like the 9 of Mark Morton has moved into that second place rather securely for the time being, but now it's Robertson and Fredericks, the battle for third. And with that dog leg and how much people cut it, Brandon, if you're the outside driver, and this is going to be later on in the race, are you going to be a little tight to those drivers? Are we going to expect to see, hey, I'm not letting you all the way up for the corner?
That's the risk that you run whenever you take that dog leg. You're technically going off track, and according to iRacing rules, re-entering the track, you must do it safely. So when it comes down to the way that you run that corner, you give up your safety net whenever you go down and run that dog leg, but it is the fastest and it is technically legal. So at the end of the race, I think if it were me, I absolutely would crowd that bottom side. But at the same time, there's a thing called racing IQ, and I know that's sometimes difficult to really wrap your head around whenever you're so enveloped in trying to get the lead. But you have to use your racing IQ that in order to finish first, you must first finish. As we see the leaders now side by side and exiting turn 2 and diving down into turn 3 as they slot in single file. Dean Thompson's doing a great job at the very front of this field, ensuring that he is being extremely clean with our second place driver, and the second place driver as well is doing a fantastic job at putting the pressure on.
Yeah, they are killing it up front, and Robertson is trying to grab that second position as we are going to jump a little bit further back. If you just give me a sec here. You're having install issues. There we go. There's a really good one. You have Franklin, Bursk, and Ingersoll under a blanket. Got the 95 of Wyatt Franklin grabbing a position as we have some contact between the 3 and 85.
That was some tight racing, and that's that exit where you don't want to get close to that wall and you want to set yourself up for that dog leg. But if you're that outside car, you've got to ensure that you give that inside car the room. And same thing, if you're on the inside, you got to make sure that the outside car is doing what you expect, that racing etiquette.
And it's kind of like being a kid again. Race how you want to be raced.
And part of it is just being able to see. I know if you're racing on triple monitors, you're able to see out of the front windshield and out of either side of your windows. But if you're on a single monitor, you really can only see out your front window and maybe to the left side if you're slightly skewed. So it really depends on, again, what these drivers are running. And we don't know the nature of what all these drivers are running, as some of them are drivers who are new to this series and are doing one-off racing.
As Dalton Fredericks is still battling, not with the 18 anymore. Here comes the 24, as we're already on lap 26, getting some laps under our belt.
And I'm really excited to see how this tire wear works going forward. And I think we're seeing it right now, the drivers who are using their tires and those who are abusing their tires.
You know, I kind of wish we had that. I wish we had an option tire. That, I think, would be pretty cool to see the strategy run off.
And we had a great race this past weekend in the official race of real NASCAR, and I say real as in, in-person NASCAR, where the option tire worked really well and made great racing. But me personally, we're still seeing some great racing as we're seeing cars enter the side by side. The option tire, while it would be a fantastic option, I think we're seeing just in the tire model itself the fact that you can still run these tires out and you have to take care of them.
Wow, that 85 of Dylan Bursk is everywhere, blocking every lane. Even though he's probably not blocking, he is all over the place, and I really thought he was going to collect Aaron Ingersoll there, as there's the battle between the 85 and the 3.
Yeah, and it looks like he might be doing a little bit of blocking, but in reality, he's just trying to run the best line for his best speed, and the cars around him are trying to find the best way to get around, but he's running the optimum line as he puts those tires just slightly below the yellow line. He drifts up a little bit. He's able to kind of diamond the exit of this corner to ensure he gets a run off without hitting the wall. So that's the line that all these other drivers want to run. He's not blocking. He's just running that best line for these tires right now.
We're looking for another battle. Brandon Elkins with the 47 of Daniel Krim. You're looking with the 224 plus 3, and so's Krim plus 3. But they're right now battling for that 6th position.
And wasn't Elkins involved in the lap 2 or lap 1 incident?
I think it was the first one, going into turn number 3 with him in the 1.
So he's used that fast repair, and he's already up there running side by side with a car that I said at the beginning of this race is one to watch for how he's able to save his tires and handle the long run. So this is definitely going to be a battle to watch. I'm sure the 224 has used up a lot of his tires to get to this point.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. They can go anywhere from 50 to 60 if they save a little bit on laps on fuel. With it being cooler out, I would assume they can go even longer on those sets of tires. But so
However,
far,
their
the
fuel
battling
will
has
be
been
less.
crazy. Yes. As you're looking at a
Absolutely.
track temperature of 81 degrees, which in Arizona, that's pretty cool.
Hey, and it's a dry heat, so it's not hot, right? That's what they say.
Yeah, but even during the sunlight, while it might not be as hot out, this racetrack bakes in sunlight.
Well, and coming from a place that's also dry in Colorado, I can confirm sunburns hurt more than they do when it's humid.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Your skin dries out and you're able to feel every single little bit of burn, and the burn then allows you to dry out an extra layer down than what you normally would. It feels horrible. Always wear your sunscreen, SPF 50. If you're in humidity, you can probably get away with 30.
No kidding. I tan. I couldn't tell you the last time I burned.
I get one good burn at the beginning of the summer, and then I just put on SPF 15 and I'm golden, and I'm literally golden brown for the rest of the summer.
Nice. Well, as we're looking at this battle right now between Fredericks and Shirley, we gotta look at the battle up front because they have caught Dean Thompson just about 4/10 back. Morton and Robertson side by side going through the dog leg and heading down towards turn number 1.
Well, and you can see as the tribute paint scheme there for Kyle Busch there at the bottom, as he was coming back up, he had to figure out, all right, where is this 9 car on me? Am I able to come all the way up or not? And the 9 car was also cognizant of, he's going to come up. Does he know I'm right where I'm at? And that's what's going to keep them from catching Dean Thompson, is as they run side by side more, they're going to have to be more cognizant of each other and not able to run as hard. So now that they're single file, Dean Thompson, that is not what he wants to see behind him.
No, not at all. As we're going to check lap times this time by, but it looks like that 18, who's been a very, very fast driver all season long, has come alive here at Phoenix Raceway now that he's made it up towards the top 2.
He was hanging back a little bit from the second place driver, the previous second place driver. So he saved a little bit.
Yeah, 2.5 tenths separating lap times between Dean Thompson and Charles Robertson, as Robertson's looking to the inside, coming out of turn 2.
As you get that run off the corner, it's just like at a banked oval. That high line's going to prevail with a run.
Yeah, this is the turn I feel like you're going to have to make your move in later in the race, is turn 4.
And I think you're going to have to figure out how to do a crossover in the opposite way. You're not going to want to cross over to the bottom side. You're going to have to work yourself essentially in this turn 1 and 2. I think that's going to be your optimum passing zone to get side by side and somehow get to the top side.
So far, a really good battle. This is for the top spot, the 26 of Dean Thompson, the 18 of Charles Robertson. A little bit further back, it's Brandon Shirley and Dalton Fredericks. They're within a couple tenths of each other. And then a little bit further back, it's Daniel Krim and the 222 of Brendan Elkins.
Well, and Elkins got in front of him, and I was saying that's going to be something to watch as he was involved in that lap 1 or 2 crash. And now he's gotten in front of Daniel Krim, someone who's very good at saving tires. So I think if we somehow get a late race caution or bunched up, that 224 is going to be one that you want to watch really close.
And we have a long way to go still. Lap 41 out of 125. And Ryan in the chat, league owner Ryan in the chat, he's also running race control this evening, saying some good racing we're having. And I 100% agree. Battles all over this 1 mile weirdly shaped racetrack. The only racetrack with a dog leg.
Well, and hey, I'll give race control some credit here too. We have not had one driver attempt to take a Phoenix road course. So kudos to you for ensuring that didn't happen.
Joshua Yandow, Dylan Burke, and Aaron Ingersoll under a blanket now. That 21 we've been watching all the way through practice, qualifying, and now during the race. Was involved in the second caution of the evening, fixed the car, and currently just trying to survive, run laps. And you got to remember, Brandon, you have to be in that top 15 to receive points. You also have to have our contingency sponsors on the vehicles to earn points. So a couple parameters to make sure that we continue to have the same people over and over again every week, while we do welcome new drivers every week. Oh, big hit. Dylan Burke in the wall.
Can't hit that wall. That'll come at you.
No, you cannot. And they're the race leaders. Oh,
As we are
boy.
almost 4 wide. They're still not done settling this out. We're 2 wide, and that's that. Ooh, almost had contact.
I think there was contact between the 3 and the 85. Leaders really have to pick their spot here because I do not think these drivers are going to give them an inch.
Well, what'll happen now is that there's going to be a clear definition between second place and third place. Third place now is caught behind 3 of those lappers, not nearly as aggressive getting through them as they're able to get by the first lapper and this dog leg, and the second one they'll be side by side. And they've got to recognize that they're a lap down car. They're not going to recognize the difference in lines nearly as much as they are not been racing around the leaders.
Yeah, exactly. Right on, Brandon. The hardest you're going to have to battle for a lap is when the leader goes by. After that, I'm already a lap down. It stinks, which makes it so much easier for everybody else to get by.
Can we give a kudos, though, to the incredible racing of those front 2 around those lap down cars, just to send it in, be clean, and kudos to the lap down cars that were occurring as we're side by side exiting turn 2. He's going to slot in right behind him and see if he's able to maybe make something out of it here in turn 3. But huge kudos here to these front 2 cars.
Absolutely. It was very entertaining to see how everybody was going to navigate the lap down cars. So it was nice to see everybody get by, for the most part, unscathed. But now we have a battle for the lead as they're side by side going through turn 2. The 18's going to run the 26 a little wide and makes the pass.
Well, and the thing is, Dean Thompson did a fantastic job at recognizing what was going on. He ensured he gave the 18 plenty of room, ran that high side to give himself the best momentum to ensure he didn't lose any time on the 18 car if he was going to lose a position, or to be able to be at least side by side with him. It's almost like he's a professional or something.
You would think so. It definitely makes sense.
Something like that, right?
Brandon, how's your install going?
The install is currently at 95% installed, and then we'll see if my screen blacks out again. Because I would love to be able to help out more than I am. I'm doing my best.
No, you're good, pal. I appreciate everything that you do. This isn't the first time you've came in clutch. I know Mike, while he's not sick, is having a very long week at work. So, Mike, can't wait for this week to be over just for your mental sake. But we're here for you. We love you, and can't wait to see you back at Las Vegas next week.
And if nothing else, Mike, at least pop a beer to decompress or something like that. Can I say that on here? Is that allowed?
Yeah, absolutely, go for it. The only thing I don't like are swears.
Oh, we don't say swears. No, those aren't a thing. Decompress, get better, dude. Obviously, I'll gladly help out if I can up at the booth. I'm in Kansas next week, not for anything racing, but we'll help out whenever I can.
Just remember, if you get lost, just start clicking your heels together.
Oh, that's going to find me a nader if I do that, especially the season we're in.
A great battle for the lead, the 18 and the 26, as they're just trading fastest laps back and forth. But going a little bit further back, Brandon, the battle for fourth, there's Dalton Fredericks. He's starting to crawl back up towards the front. Definitely lost a couple of positions earlier on in the run. Everybody else is having tire issues. Guess who is not?
It's going to be a balance, because the question is, did he give up too much time at the beginning of this race to save tires? As we see now a car that is, it looks like, was he a little bit slow there at the bottom?
Yes, he was.
Did he get a little loose here off of this turn, or did he do the dog leg a little wrong? He did the dog leg a little wrong.
And that's what you're going to run a risk later on in the race with those worn tires. You're going to come off the racetrack, and it's going to upset the car, and boy, did it.
But I'll tell you, he did a great job not to hit that wall. He locked it down. He recognized what was happening and ensured he's able to race another day, because there's plenty of time left here. There's plenty of pit stops left to go as we move here on the inside here for fourth position. Or third. Is that third?
That is for third. That's the 9 and the 20, Morton and Fredericks. As if they keep battling, here comes Brandon Shirley, right now our biggest mover of the race.
Well, you can see Dalton transitioned and took that high side, and he's going to make sure he has a huge run. I think we have a car coming down pit road. You called it right on. Coming down pit road, he's going to be making sure that he's got the freshest tires, and I'm wondering if the undercut or the overcut is going to be what gets you out in front. So this car, as well as Dalton Fredericks, will be who to watch.
And the undercut, right now, they're only about 7/10 slower than their fastest lap, as Daniel Krim is also hitting this very long pit road.
Yeah, if 7/10 is the gap for me personally, I'm taking the overcut because I'm not optimistic that these drivers know how to get down pit road as quickly as possible. And I know Dalton, he practiced that for sure.
He always does.
That's what he does best. He practices pit road because that's where you're going to make up 2 or 3 seconds.
Preston Alexander now on pit road, as well as race leader Charles Robertson, +4 spots. And here comes Dean Thompson.
Well, and you see how he came down pit road. He ensured he arced it in and got down to pit road speed. He looked to be about 2 seconds faster than what we saw the 4th place driver come down pit road. So it's all going to come down to how this 18 car comes down pit road as who's going to come out in front.
Brandon Shirley is also on pit road. Let's see if we're going to have our race leader hit pit road. It's looking like it.
He didn't make that arc, and he's got to slow down in order to make sure he's able to make pit road speed and stay down low. To me, that looked to be about a ½ second slower, so I think we're going to see them still be close, but I think Dean Thompson's going to be the one out in front after this cycle.
I think you're right on the nose there, but Dalton Fredericks with a really good entry as well. Was about 3.5 back, got to pit road 2 seconds back.
Well, and he even made a gap on that 18, so either Dalton did an incredible job coming down or the 18 car is slower than I anticipated coming down.
Both. Probably both. Josh Vidal taking over the race lead. Wyatt Franklin taking that 2nd position. Now, remember, Sunday, pit stop started. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott on pit road, and what happens next? A caution comes out. That would be absolutely insane, as the 95 is going to kill the inside wall.
Did you just jinx the caution on the 95 car? I'm pretty sure he's still green, but I don't know if you can see out of that thing.
I don't know either, but we are still green.
And kudos to him for saving it and keeping it going forward. I know there's a lot of drivers out there who will say, I wrecked it, I'm getting a caution. And he is respecting the craft of racing here, so huge kudos to him.
Well, the thing is, if he can make it to pit road, it's going to be a heck of a lot faster than if he had to jump to pit road. I don't know how he's doing this.
It's what? Holy cow.
I don't know how he's doing that.
There's some things called magic, and there's some things called guts, and I think he's got both of them.
Well, he knows he's on pit road now, so I hope he's listening to his crew chief to count him into the pit box. Sorry, everybody. Josh Vidal is currently our race leader. We're curious to see if he makes it into his pit stall. But Wyatt Franklin with a crazy amount of damage. And there it is. Wow, good job, Wyatt. Very good job.
Well, if we look at the leader, we've got Josh Vidal out here out front, but if you look at them, the drivers who will cycle to the lead, we saw how Dean Thompson came down pit road, and he is now going to be the one who will be inheriting the lead. And look at the gap that he has to 2nd place. That is an incredible gap. And as we go further down, the way you enter pit road makes or breaks your race. Absolutely it does. And we'll see, as Dean Thompson gets in the wall a little bit, we'll see if Josh Vidal is staying out as long as he has, if that's going to impact his race in terms of how far down the pack he goes.
It looks like Dean Thomas is pulling over and just jumped to pit road.
Yeah,
I don't know
it looks
if that's
like
him calling it for the night.
When he got into that wall, it's very possible he may have broken a toe link, or I know these cars don't have toe links, but if you knock your wheel out of alignment, especially if you're, quote unquote, a professional, and I'm saying that because we don't know it's officially the Dean Thompson, but we're gonna assume it is. You're not gonna want to run practice lap after practice lap on a damaged vehicle. That's not something that's gonna behoove you long term.
Up front, the 18 of Charles Robertson by 2 seconds over Mark Morton. And then 0.3 over Dalton Fredericks. There's the battle for second as Morton's going to pop the wall coming across the start-finish line.
Absolutely, and as these drivers then enter into turn 3, and I apologize, I think we have a status complete on my iRacing as we're essentially loading in. These drivers, they're exiting turn 1 and 2, and you can see that the way that they entered pit road, Dalton was able to make up a pretty substantial gap on. Actually, they were nearly with each other, so I take that back. They both entered pit road around the same speed.
We are just about past halfway. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but you're not going to miss a thing. We are going side by side.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
It is feature time in Tulsa. Let's go green.
He's got the run, but isn't enough. It's a drag race to the finish. Culver goes from third to first in the last quarter.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races, such as the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR calendar, such as the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600. We have races from disciplines across the racing world, from the Indy 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events use iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against everyone taking part. As every race progresses, watch and feel the track change, with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline, or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
We are back, everybody. Charles Robertson about 2.5 seconds over Dalton Fredericks. There's first. There's second on your screen. Mark Morton just...
We have contact. That's that entry into the dog leg. You have to know where the other cars are, and you have to know what they're going to do. You cannot anticipate they will leave the track surface.
Let's see what happened here. The 224 a lap down and just comes right down onto the 24 Brandon Shirley.
Well, and we saw that on lap at the beginning of the race, where same type of idea. You anticipate a driver will do something, and it doesn't mean that's what they're going to do. That's part of racing. You have to control your own car first.
Go back and get a look at this. This is from the point of view of the 224. Sends it into turn 3. And just comes down completely and takes out the 24 as well. I do think the 24 might have a little bit more damage than we are actually seeing. See if we can get a look at that.
Well, and it looks like his right rear. He did, but it looks like as I'm on his car right now on pit road, he has utilized his fast repair because you see him get in the wall right there. That's right where the damage was on his car, and it immediately went back to correction with his pit stop. So while I don't believe the 224 has any more fast repairs, I would not be shocked if he parked the remainder of this race.
I didn't think there was a lot of damage on the 224.
The 224 does have a little bit of right rear damage.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of, I think aerodynamically it will adjust him and will prevent him from racing for a win. But if he's looking for points and he's trying to ensure he's good there, he would continue unless there's some wheel damage as well.
Right now, like I was saying earlier, the top 15 get points.
Well, and so it looks like as this is adjusting with Dean Thompson leaving the race, he is now the driver who is in 15th place right now. So if anyone's behind him and they're watching this broadcast and they've parked it for whatever reason, get back in that car. Go run some laps. That's the driver you got to beat.
Especially if you want to grab some points. As the lights are off on the iRacing Ford Mustang official pace car, Daniel Krim, the driver of the 47, staying out on about 22 lap old tires. Let's see how that's going to work. And everybody not caught up to the field. Look at that. Most of them, I think, are penalty cars.
That's very possible, and that could cause a little bit of chaos. It depends on if they're able to all restart on the low side or if any of them do have that high side spot. But as we look here at this restart, as they're about ready to enter here, and we're under green with Daniel Krim taking the lead, and it looks like Charles Robinson did not maintain enough of a speed to stay side by side. We currently right now only have 9 cars on the lead lap with Callie Ingersoll as your driver who got the wave around. So very, very possible that there were some penalties.
We're going to have to wait and see as we're 3 wide for the lead out of 2. Oh, I thought we were about to go 4 wide. A little contact between the 20 and the 18. Holy cow, just like Phoenix to give us these crazy restarts.
Well, and you can see that 24 car, Brandon Shirley, he's on that low side, but the 18 car is going to have a little bit of a run to be able to stay with him. And as he gets loose out of the corner, he makes contact with it. Looked like it was the 9 car, Mark Morton, as he spins around.
Holy cow. That was wicked loose. I wonder if that was a little bit of an arrow loose with the 18 going around the outside.
If it were me driving, I would make that assumption. You see he's tight here right there on his bumper, or I apologize, right on his side. And so as he's able to get traction back, he gets the idea that he's going to make more traction than he actually will. Gets in the accelerator a little bit more, is able to break loose then, and he corrects it, but he gets back into the accelerator not to lose time, and around she goes.
Oh, big hit from the 9.
Just gets caught up in the steering.
And I think for the most part, everybody else misses him. The Mark Morton will jump on board with the 9. Oh, not really much for Morton to do there.
No, nowhere for him to really go, to be honest. He's just along for the ride at that point. Whenever you spin out of turn 1 and 2, you got walls on either side of you. You can't make a incredible reaction to avoid him because you're going to hit the inside wall guaranteed. And we saw that even in the Cup race whenever Catherine Legg spun around. You know, Daniel Suarez. The second time when Daniel Suarez, you know, his option is dart low, but if you lose control, you can't correct that, and you're not coming back from that.
And we just saw the onboard from Nate Orlowski, and yikes!
Brown pants moment.
I hope he brought his brown pants.
So then it blends in.
That's unfortunate for the 24. He was having a really good night. When he wrecked, he was plus 10 spots from where he started. Bummer. But it happens.
24 car. It looks like he has parked. He's got a checkered flag next to his name, which means he is not only disconnected from the lobby, but he is disconnected from the server. So it looks like he is done for today, and that's another spot these drivers could potentially pick up, which means that as they continue running, we could see the potential of, you know, Wyatt Franklin if he gets back out, Dylan Buski, any of these drivers could pick up some spots.
Yeah, Nate will gain a position. Twisted will gain a position. Yeah, so far they will gain a position. Oh, here we go. Pace car is off. Getting ready to go green. 9 cars on the lead lap. You're watching the ACAR Xfinity Series presented by the Wrestling with Nerds podcast. New episodes every Sunday evening. Links are down in the description. There it is. Green flag back in the air. The 20 with an excellent launch. Gets across the start-finish line. Dives down through the dog leg. And here we go down towards turn number 1.
Well, on that restart, you can see that Charles Robertson and Callie Ingersoll both maintained a good speed as we have caution on the racetrack. Looks like further back we've got a spin in turn 2.
That's Twisted, the 98, who I'm thinking... Trying to figure out who it is. Oh, it's Alex Bonsignor. I show him as the 34. Let's see who we got and what happened. Oh, Daniel Krim looks to be involved. Oh, Krim just gets in the back of the 98. And Twisted, trying to slow down, rides the wall. A rare mistake from the 47.
Well, and it sounded like from listening to the communication going on, Bonsignor wasn't too pleased with 26 cutting off his run. So I think, you know, he checked up a bit much to ensure he didn't get into the 26. And with that much of a checkup, 47 not having a ton of a place to go.
Jump on board with the 8. I think the 8 of Twisted sees what's happening and just slams on the brakes and goes straight into the wall.
I mean, hey, if no one's behind you, it's the best way to avoid it.
Oh, well, he didn't avoid it.
Oof.
He really turned into the crash test dummy that he's got the helmet of.
Well, you just got to make sure you got your fast repair left. And I'm pretty sure all those cars that were not involved with anything else prior, so they should have a fast repair to be able to use as we close out this race.
Yeah, we are already on lap 86. We're going to 125. We do get 3 green-white checkered attempts, knock on wood. Do not want to jinx more. You know exactly what happened to Wyatt Franklin when we mentioned his name.
Well, so does this mean that we are good to the finish if we pit under this caution, or if we have pit under this caution?
I'm sorry, Brandon, I missed that.
I'm pretty sure, and I don't know if we're coming here, and looks like, yeah, we are going by side. So these drivers that did not pit, which is basically everybody, no one came down pit road, they technically can make it to the end from here.
They should be able to if they pit now. Actually, if they pit back on 76, they should make it. With that long green flag run that we had, they went about 50 or so laps.
So what they need to make sure of is that there's at least one more caution or no green-white checkers is what I'm hearing. I also play it conservative when it comes to fuel. The last thing I want to do is run out of fuel.
Green flag back in the air. Up front, Dalton gets another good launch, but so does Charles Robertson.
Well, there was a bit of a move that almost made it 3 wide, but one of the cars backed out and thought better of it, which will either be a great thing or it's going to come back to bite them if this is the last caution.
Oh, Dalton sends it into turn number 1. Holy cow, I thought he was going straight to the wall.
Well, and somehow he's able to keep momentum here out of turn 2, because it did look like he was going to lose a lot of momentum, but he got that straight line speed, which is extremely, extremely important. As we see the 9 car kind of peeking to the inside of the 18, we'll see if both these cars take the dog leg. As we see then going down into turn 1, these cars are going to be nose to tail, trying to get the least little bit of air on their nose to ensure that they've got some extra grip.
This is going to be a great battle for the top 3. I'm also excited to see that both Callie and Aaron Ingersoll are in 4 and 5. Mostly that 38 with the NWO Ford Mustang. That is sweet. Feels like they're really pandering towards the league owner, being probably the biggest wrestling fan I've ever met, as we have a battle for the lead.
Absolutely. Side by side, he's going to lose a little bit of momentum here, and we'll see if he has the momentum to be able to make a move here into turn 3. I don't think he will, but it's funny you mentioned that NWO paint scheme, because I almost brought up paint schemes under that last caution, because not only did that one catch my eye, and I made mention of this tribute paint scheme that we're watching right now, of Charles Robertson in that 18 car, but there's another tribute paint scheme that's out there right now. You are able to check out, I believe it is the 40 car. I don't know if he's listed as 40 as a number, but he is running the Justin Allgaier paint scheme from Daytona, that Junior Motorsports Cup ride, and it looks fantastic out there. Despite the fact it is not running in the top 10, you don't need to.
Yep, top
it
10.
is. What number is he in? 10th place. On my screen, he is number 54. So,
yeah, well, 54 in sim, but on the racetrack, he's number 40. Don't you just love trading paints?
All I'm going to say is he's running top 10 like Justin Allgaier at Daytona. So kudos to him. And, you know, this is not the AC Delco paint scheme from Clint Boyer.
AC Delco with Superman on the hood.
Oh my gosh, we have some fantastic paint schemes in this lobby, some great creativity. I appreciate everyone who decides they're going to run a tribute or just come up with their own paint scheme and be creative. The one that's been catching my eye that I know is not a tribute is Josh Vidal's number 26 paint scheme. He's got an awesome bright pink JVM graphics paint scheme that has been catching my eye constantly.
And what do you know? Krim has found Josh Vidal. They always seem to run around each other. But I do gotta throw a little fun to Dalton with his paint scheme. He's throwing it back to himself. Gotta have fun with this, as right now we are going towards lap 96. This race has flown by. I know there's been a couple wrecks, but holy cow, when they can start clicking lap times off they really get to moving as they have gone to that mid to outside entry in turn number 1, and Dalton is really making it work as it just looked like the AC Delco just smacked the wall coming out of turn 2. These lines have completely changed.
You can tell, especially as they are exiting turn number 4, they are absolutely pedaling it. So I jumped onto that AC Delco paint scheme specifically of Ingersoll here, Aaron Ingersoll in particular, and he's having to pedal coming out of here turn 4 to ensure he's not going up the track, which means he's trying to ensure those tires are kept in shape for the end.
There we go, right to the inside. Oh, loose. Holy cow.
Just a little bit as he's going to the inside of, I'm assuming, is either going to be a sibling, parent, cousin, or something, because they have the same last name.
I would assume there's a little relation there.
It's either a Jarrett, an Earnhardt, or a Waltrip, one or the other. Question is, which one's Michael?
Oh, no.
We love Lil Michael, as that commercial said.
Oh, God.
As we see them now, they are side by side. It is a great battle, because the thing is, that bottom line is so challenging, and Aaron Ingersoll has done a great job at pedaling that car to ensure he's not burning up his stuff in order to make a move on Callie Ingersoll. As you can see, there's going to be a little bit of a slide job here, and that's going to open the door then for the car behind them to be able to make a move on them as well. And that looks like it is Bonsignor here in the 98 car, making that move on the low side, not able to get clear of the 3 car on that slab job. He's going to have to diamond that corner just to maintain momentum.
Up to 4th place does Alex Bonsignor go.
And I got to be honest, Bonsignor's paint scheme also looks great. Like, it's super subtle, but it's like a very clean, crisp subtle to me. It's one of those underdog paint schemes for me.
But up front, we got to show you our race leaders as we just passed lap 100. Dalton Fredericks, Charles Robertson, and Mark Morton, the usual suspects tonight, up front and pulling away from the rest of the field.
Well, I hate to pull you back to that battle, but if you go to the 26 car with Josh Vidal as well as Daniel Krim and Callie Ingersoll, that now has flipped where Callie was out in front, and that was a 3-wide battle for a moment, which looked absolutely incredible as Callie's going to fall a little bit behind. We'll see if he's able to make a move here on Daniel Krim. Looks like it's going to wash up a little bit and not able to make that stick.
Pretty sure we're watching tires fall off very rapidly on this run just for we're getting close to the finish and everybody's trying to make their moves now.
Absolutely. It is all happening in real time. These drivers are having to maintain their tires, and it looks like you're losing across 2 or 3 laps. You're losing about a 10th every 3 laps. At least that's how the leader, Dalton Fredericks, is doing right now. It looks like he is losing that 1/10 every 2 to 3 laps as he's driving. And going into then, Charles Robertson, who's in second, he is maintaining about that same pace in terms of tire fall off.
They're roughly right around the same lap time as you were saying, but they're a second off of their fastest lap. As last time by, Robertson a 10th and a half faster than the 20.
Yeah, I gotta wonder if that was a slip up in the moves as well as transitioning cameras, so I wasn't able to fully see. But it does look like Charles Robertson is able to maintain a little bit better. And if I analyze every single lap, let's just go back to lap 100 in terms of lap times. You don't got to move the camera. But on lap 100, Charles Robertson ran a 28.3. If you were to look at Dalton Frederick on lap 100, also a 28.3. Going back to lap 90 for Dalton, a 27.8. Charles Robertson was a 27.7. So Dalton is burning up his tires slightly more, at the beginning of the run, but is able to kind of smooth out his ending of his tire run as opposed to Charles Robertson. So as the run ends at the very end, we'll see whose tires remain.
Back up a little. The Ingersolls are battling now on the racetrack. 7th and 8th position on the racetrack.
I'm wondering how Thanksgiving dinner is going to go here by the end of the race. No love lost, all stuffing. And by stuffing, I mean into the wall. Maybe, allegedly. As we see the 38 almost get into the 3. I wasn't wrong with that stuffing comment now, was I?
No, not at all. And I've noticed throughout my broadcasting career for the last 4 years, that if you have siblings on the racetrack, you run them harder than anybody else on the racetrack. It's fun to watch, and I think we're seeing it now.
Absolutely. I remember facing my brother in Ultimate Frisbee. Yes, I was one of those who played that sport. Me and my brother were both in college on opposing college teams, and I wanted nothing more than to beat my brother on a throw when he was blocking me, and he wanted nothing more than to outrun me on a deep cut because I am not a fast runner.
A great battle back here for that 7th position. As there goes the 38 diving straight to the inside and making the pass.
He's just going to set it in, and, you know, they're going to continue to battle. This dog leg is going to make a big difference because now he's going to be on the inside, specifically speaking of Aaron, and he's going to have to back off and give it to him because he knows he's not going to have that line into the corner. He's not going to have the run. He's got to save his tires, and he's got to be ready to go for another battle. So he gets into the wall exiting that turn.
I jumped away from that at the worst time, but up front, the battle is starting to heat up for the lead. Robertson, 2.5 tenths behind Fredericks, as that gap is closing ever so slightly every lap.
Well, it looks like Dalton, since lap 104, and we're on 110 now, has been running 28.5s, whereas Charles, back at lap 104, was running 28.4s and continued running 28.4s other than the last lap and now this lap as well. And on this lap, Dalton's still in the 28.5. So Dalton's been more consistent, but Charles Robertson is maintaining a better pace. And diving over to the comments real quick, I'm seeing Desert Shark say he wishes he could log in and register to be able to run this. If you have any friends who are running this race and you want to know what they're driving in, you are able to click on Watch on iRacing. Make sure you're still watching the stream. And you are able to test run the conditions that they're in right now.
Hi, TJ.
Yes, hi, TJ.
As Alex Bonsignor dropping down to pit road. They should have been good to the finish. I do think Josh Yandow is going to have to pit. He did jump on pit road on lap 67. But they should be good to the end. Guess we'll just have to wait and find out. Maybe Alex just burned up those tires and possibly bet on a couple more cautions to save a little bit of extra fuel. But there is your battle for the lead. With 11 laps to go. Yeah, you did paint the 21. Too bad the numbers are crooked.
Well, and one thing that I do want to mention, so I was listening to comms, and I apologize for being a little sporadic here for the last lap or two, but I went to go look back at lap 112 going to lap 113 across the start-finish line of Josh Vidal, because he came over the comms and apologized to the 98 car. And what occurred essentially back on lap 112 going to lap 113 for the 26 was that going into the dogleg, he took the low line, and he anticipated the 98 car was going to be running up the top of the track, and the 98 car was pinching him down, running the middle, and they made contact entering turn 1.
We have traffic in front of the leaders. You have Twisted and Alexander in front of the 20. There goes the 20 by Alexander, and he's going to have to get by Twisted. And good job for both of them kind of staying out of the way for the race leaders. That gap down to 4.5 tenths. Under 10 laps to go, Brandon. And before we finish out tonight's race, if they're in the Discord and they're a podium driver, we will try to talk to them.
We will do our best to get the best interview possible. We'll make them laugh. We'll make them hopefully not cry. I mean, second or third, maybe they might cry. But we'll do our best for you as we see that the 18 car is going to do whatever he can. Anything he's saved up, which I don't think is much, he's going to want to use. And that's where I think, based on the way the laps ran, Dalton Fredericks, he was running a more consistent lap time. So I think he may have saved a little bit more than Charles Robertson here at the end, but we'll see what he's got.
Coming to 6 laps to go. 6/10 separating our top 2 drivers. Another close battle are the Ingersoll 7th and 8th position.
Well, and these drivers are going to come up on one more lap car, I have a feeling. We're currently on lap 120 going to 121. And I think they're going to catch one more car, which is going to be Joshua Yandow before we get to the end. So we'll see if that holds up. Dalton Frederick, similar to what happened last week at Coda.
Well, let's see what happens. I would think Joshua's smart enough to get out of the way of the race leaders.
We don't want something to happen, but something can always happen.
4 to go. Crossing the start-finish line.
Well, I'm looking at these lap times. Charles Robertson's running a 28.6. He's finally broken into that category once or twice, bumping up, whereas Dalton Fredericks, he's picked up speed. He's gone from 28.5s to 28.4s and has been alternating in those lap time ranges. So Dalton definitely saved a little bit. He managed his gap to the car behind to ensure he wasn't getting passed, but could save his tire. So it's going to come down to this lapper.
So we're going to have to wait and see. I don't think we'll have to wait too long. Coming out of turn 2. Oh, dear.
That lapper is going to say, you got to get around me on the line that's a lot tighter, and he's not going to give him much room, but he does get by him, it looks like, cleanly. And now it's going to come down to Charles Robertson being able to get by him to know, is Mark Morton going to have an opportunity potentially to make up some of this 2-second gap that is apparent?
Yeah, that 21 is definitely hurting the 18 now.
Well, I mean, whenever you're racing the car, as long as you let the leader by, it's fine, right? You didn't wreck the leader. As you see, the 21 car, though, he is doing the right thing. He's running his own race. He's being predictable. He did move up the racetrack, maybe not necessarily as clean as we come to the white flag. And AJ, I'm going to let you take it away from here.
All right, white flag won last time around Phoenix Raceway through 1 and 2. Dalton Fredericks, nice and clean down the back straightaway, down turn towards turn number 3. Nowhere in sight. A second back is Charles Robertson, and through the final turns, Dalton Fredericks is gonna win at Phoenix Raceway.
He's gonna win it in style as he kicked that back end out as he was exiting that turn, saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna drift some smoke up into you because I won this race."
Robertson in second, Mark Morton third, Josh Vidal in fourth, fifth. It's Daniel Krim. Sixth, it's Callie Ingersoll. Seventh, it's Aaron Ingersoll. Eighth, Joshua Yandow. Ninth, Alex Bonsignor. And 10th, Preston Alexander. All top 10 drivers are plus position drivers. That's nuts. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
That is absolutely, and I'm not exactly sure who all the drivers going for points, but we do have Twisted, who ran in 11th, Nate Orlowski in 12th, Brandon Shirley in 13th, Brandon Elkins in 14th, and then rounding out potential point spots is Dean Thompson to close out the race.
Nice. Dalton burning it down on the front stretch.
Well, and as we're listening in, so I'm listening to the communications and I'm hearing the 34 car and the 26 car just having a little bit of communication and some racing etiquette, some apologies back and forth. So good spirited respect in having communication. So kudos to those two for whatever it was that occurred on the racetrack, working it out appropriately.
All right, let's see, as people should be jumping in the waiting room. Gonna go steal them. Hopefully they don't mind. But let's start with P3. Mark Morton. Hey, Mark, it's AJ and Brandon in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, friend.
Yes, sir. I got you. How you gentlemen doing?
Hey, what a great race up front all night. How was it out there, and how did the car feel?
It was definitely a little hectic at first, but once the race started to cool down, it was pretty smooth sailing. Um, Fortunately, in my favor, I would not have been talking to you guys if Dean and a couple of other guys ended up quitting for some magical reason. But I mean, I'll definitely take P3. Our kind of game plan didn't work out too well at the end. I was definitely kind of open for a caution there. But then the last 50 laps, just like I'm sure Charles was as well, because we knew Dalton took tires at last caution, and it was either we take tires and there's a caution, and everybody else takes tires and passes, or we don't take tires, bank on a caution, and then we just run away with it. But we did not get the lucky sevens in our favor tonight, but definitely P3 out of 21 cars, I believe. It was really phenomenal. The car was great. She was a little tight later in the long run, but overall, she handled like a dream.
Yeah, it looked like it handled nice out there. But you're coming up here talking with us. Uh, we go to Las Vegas for next week's race next Wednesday. We're staying out west. You doing anything special out here while you're out here?
Definitely. Hopefully, we get those lucky sevens next week. It is a mile and a half track speed track, which you guys unfortunately were not here when we ran Atlanta and actually won that race, and it was a pretty, I don't want to say dominating fashion. I kind of short pitted Charles on that race, and it worked in my favor, and he ran out of laps to try and catch me. But I know it's going to be an interesting race over there at Vegas, and I'm definitely looking forward to it because I love Vegas. I love Xfinity cars, and like I said, hopefully these lucky sevens roll in my favor next week.
All right, pal. Well, before we let you go, any sponsors you would like to plug?
Uh, Wagner's Welding and well, it's not Scooter. He doesn't own a company anymore. But I definitely want to give a huge shout out to my spotter. He was on point last night. Well, excuse me, tonight, and also my new teammates that I came up with over at Team Nine Racing. They are a bunch of great guys, and I'm lucky to be a part of them. And hopefully next week they'll be able to jump in with us, and we can show these boys, show these men what this team can do.
Nice. All right, dude. Well, thanks for coming and talk with us. You have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you in Vegas.
You as well, sir. Also, real quick, I do want to give you guys a shout out as well. You guys always put on a hell of a stream week in and week out. But if you guys miss another week, then we are gonna have some issues because actually I don't know because when you
You
guys
won
missed
that
a week,
week.
I won. Yeah, I was gonna say I won that race. Actually, you know what? Just I guess you guys can just miss every week. No, I'm just kidding. No, you guys are
Well,
really good. I do appreciate you guys, and hopefully I can talk to you guys next week.
well, and I'm subbing in, and I'll be in Kansas next week, so I'm definitely missing next week. So I apologize, but AJ should be here.
Well, hey,
I try to be here
you,
every
you can't
week.
win them all. You can't win them all. I mean, if I win, if I win at Vegas, Brandon, that means you can't broadcast anymore.
I guess so. I guess that's what that means. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I'm just kidding. No, I don't want Ray to get mad at me. All right, Jim, and you guys have a good night, and thank you guys so much for putting on a hell of a show again.
Great
See you
work, sir.
later. All right, Brandon. I will give you D2. That's Charles Robertson. Because I'm currently trying to do points so I could figure out where everybody sits.
No problem. I think we Charles, do we got Charles Robertson in here? You got me?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Awesome, man. Great job. Your battle all day, running in the top 3, battling between Dean Thompson and Mark Morton was absolutely incredible. We were commenting throughout the race how you were able to intricately adjust the car to ensure you had airflow to get grip, as well as maintaining lines with the tire wear. Tell me, what are your thoughts on the race tonight, as well as your thoughts on the way that the tire model felt with the new update?
I feel like the tire model was pretty good. I feel like when I had that big lead before the caution come out, I feel like it was really playing out in my favor. But all in all, it was a good race battling with the 20 and the 9, 47, everybody. It just didn't play out the way I wanted to, but that's just how it goes sometimes.
Exactly. And your paint scheme out there, we made a comment on it. It was great to have a tribute paint scheme specifically for Kyle Busch and the M&M's car. So thank you, obviously, for running that. Now we go to Las Vegas next week. Are you going to be joining us here next week? And will we see you back in the booth? And what do you think you need for next week?
No, I don't know, man. Las Vegas is, I wouldn't say it hasn't been a good track for me in other leagues, but, it's just one of those deals where I just have to see where I end up.
Absolutely. And before we throw it back to AJ and their side, do you have any sponsors that you want to shout out, or anybody who helped you out, or anyone you just want to say, hey, what's up to?
No, but I want to thank, everybody puts a league on. I've had fun these past 3-4 races, so I'll definitely be here next week.
Awesome. And we appreciate having you in here every single week as we continue on. And good luck next week. I won't be here, but hopefully we'll see you back in the booth.
Thank you, man.
Awesome.
Right.
Appreciate it.
That is Charles Robertson in the 18, finishing second. But it's time to talk to probably somebody who I've interviewed the most on this channel, and it's rather disgusting. It's the one, the only driver, the number 20, Dalton Fredericks. Dude, what's up, pal?
How's it going?
It's you again.
How was that race? Because that looked very, very entertaining.
Not how I thought it was gonna go, but hey, I'll take it.
Well, how was the car out there?
It was pretty good. Handled all right all day. With the brake bias adjustments all race, kept the car competitive. I felt like I was gonna be scrubbing my tires too much, trying to stick with the leaders, and I was gonna fall off. But surprisingly, I stayed up there the whole time and able to keep the pressure on. So yeah, I'm happy with our performance and got the win. So it's a good day.
Dude, it was very fun to see you out there running. Looks like Charles for a little bit was looking to give you a run for your money. But how was it out there running with him and trying to maintain your speed and tires as the night was going?
Yeah, he's a excellent driver. He was trying to play it to where he'd set his car up in the center of the corner to try to mess up my apex. That way I took a funky line on the exit and he'd be able to get the advantage. But luckily he wasn't able to get far enough ahead to where it really hurt my line. but it was a lot of fun racing. I thought he was going to get back to me before the end with like 5 to go. I thought for sure he was going to get beside me again, and he was going to try the same stuff. But I think the lap traffic kind of hurt him. It hurt me a little bit because it was a little weird with the one car, but I think it hurt him the most, and we were able to pull away after that. So a lot of fun with racing with him, the 9 car, and Dean Thompson. Great seeing him out here. A lot of fun with the guys. I hope we can keep this racing up for the next few weeks, or the whole season, I should say, because that was a lot of fun.
And that is exactly what I like to hear, that people are out having fun in the ACAR Xfinity series presented by the Wrestling with Nerds podcast. Dude, we're going to Vegas next week. Are you going to make an appearance? Because I know that is another racetrack you are pretty good at.
Heck yeah, I'm making another appearance. Are you kidding me?
I am so happy you said heck.
I'm not totally stupid. I'm a little stupid, but not that stupid.
Oh, you heard that comment. Okay. Oops.
Yeah.
Whoops. All right. Well, before we let you go, talk about those beautiful sponsors on the car.
You all right there?
Yeah, I just know what's coming.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd like to thank All Star 15 TV for sponsoring the car and for the broadcast. You guys do such an amazing job. Love watching the races after we're done. I'd like to thank JTC Home Services, Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast, Effective CPRNC, McConey Setup Shop, Wrestling with Nerds, Fry Trucking, Drinkin Bros, Honey Hill Farms, JVM Graphics, Hard AF Seltzer, AC Cages, Phantom Power Racing, them guys over there. Thank you to everyone on the team, all the support. It's a lot of fun racing with all the guys, giving each other feedback. We've got a great group, and I couldn't be more proud with the guys I've got, and I'm excited for Sebring. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too, because if people were wondering, we will be broadcasting all 12 hours here on the channel for everybody to enjoy. That will be March 22nd. So mark your calendars. We will have a broadcast for it, rooting on HSR. So tune in, everybody. It should be if it's anything like last year, it should be the 8 a.m. start with 11 a.m. as a backup.
I think 7 a.m. start.
Oh, okay. That was an hour off, which I shouldn't be
Mountain
when we
Time.
broadcast.
Close enough.
All right, Dalton, thank you for coming and talking with us. You have a wonderful night, and we'll see you at Vegas.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Brandon, take us home, pal.
Man, just absolutely great racing throughout. And before we dive into everything on here, I just want to figure out where in the world that lucky horseshoe is hidden for whenever we hide or measure that car in terms of its weight. Because Dalton did a great job. But what we saw all race was we were able to see tire strategy when it came down to racing lines, when it came down to racing driving style. We saw side-by-side action. We saw clean racing throughout. Just a fantastic job here at Phoenix. Always puts on a good show, and these drivers really showed us that it can do that. Really looking forward to next week.
All right, everybody, you heard that. Brandon, thank you for coming in the clutch and broadcasting with me this evening. It's always fun to have you up in the booth. Enjoy your trip. And we'll have Mike Campiccio back in the booth at Las Vegas. Hopefully I can rip him away from the slot machines.
That's going to be a challenge for sure.
Yeah. Well, funny thing is, he goes to the slot machine. I go with all the old ladies to bingo.
See, and I end up finding the shows with all the feathers and stuff. That's where I end up.
I didn't think about that.
You know me well.
All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe, follow. We'll catch you next week at Las Vegas. Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.